And welcome back, everybody. My name is Raze Chaos. You've made it back to my channel, and yes, it is time. It is time. Raze has been looking forward to this. So, as you may have already known, if you've been watching the channel, you know that Funko, on Funko.com, the Funko shop, have been releasing the Watchmen characters one at a time through the Funko shop. And Raze has been snapping these suckers up just as fast as he can, because it's one of the greatest one of the greatest stories ever told as far as Raze is concerned. It sits at the top of comic book literature, I guess you'd say. One of the best stories ever written by the wizard himself, Alan Moore. And it was something that Raze read when he was very young, too young, in fact, to have read that book, if we're being completely honest. But the thing is, Raze's mom was one of those people who believed that all comic books were for kids. So, yeah, that was Raze's sneak. He could read anything as long as it was a comic book. She never bothered to look close enough to find out. So yeah, obviously there's a good reason why Raze clings to this. It is something that the Watchmen itself, the book, is one of those things that Raze didn't understand it when he had first read it, because he was a teenager. And it introduced a whole heck of a lot more concepts and tropes that Raze was unwilling and unready to handle at the time. But as he got older, it's one of those books that aged with him.
For the Watchmen!
He was able to reread it occasionally and find something new, or find a deeper appreciation for it. There was never a time that Raze did not love the Watchmen, and that love has grown. So that's why Raze gets so excited about the Watchmen characters. It's like, it's insane it's crazy to read a book a second time, or even a third time. I mean, the Watchmen in general requires you to read it twice in order to even begin to start understanding it. That's how complex it was written. But to be able to do that and to get more out of it as you read, because the more you understand everything, Raze always had this book he could go back to, and he could always find something new in it, a new perspective, a new detail, a new fact. I mean, did you know that there is actually one panel in the entire graphic novel of The Watchmen? There is one panel that tells the entire story. One panel. Of course, you really wouldn't get that. You wouldn't be able to begin to figure out which panel this is until you've read the book, like I said, at least twice. But even then, you may read it multiple times without actually stopping at this one panel and realizing that every detail that goes into this story is in this one panel. It basically is the biggest spoiler in the entire book. Raze isn't going to tell you what it is, because that's something that discovering just felt so good. Raze doesn't want to take that away from you. And if you can't figure out which one it is, then you don't deserve to know yet.
Welcome aboard.
You'll get there, grasshopper. Keep reading. But at any rate, today's video is going to be focusing in on Nite Owl. Which is, I mean, Raze keeps saying that all these characters are his favorite characters. They are, for different reasons. just the last Watchmen character he did was actually the second Silk Spectre, and while while on the surface she appears to be, you know, just kind of there, when you really start digging deep, you realize how important she is to the story. And Dan Draberg is another one, the second Nite Owl, and think we're gonna go ahead and put this guy away and take a look at this.
Come and meet your friends.
Nite Owl, like all the Watchmen characters, you know, heavy influence of the Carlton characters, and this one is probably the easiest one to spot, short of Dr. Manhattan, of course, because this is actually based on the Blue Beetle. And so they took so much from the Blue Beetle. This would be the Ted Kord Blue Beetle, not the Dan Garrett original Blue Beetle. But it also has an original Nite Owl that was in the Minutemen, the earlier books. And so much of what Ted Kord Blue Beetle is, Nite Owl has. He has Archimedes, whereas the Blue Beetle has the Bug, and I mean it's like how did you, if you didn't already know this, how did you not spot this? You know what I mean? It's like he's kind of the most blatant of all of them. But again, while they did base them on the Carlton characters they could not use, DC decided not to let them use the characters. What they did do was they infused them with other things, and the influences there are really, really fitting, because when you take Hollis Mason, the original Nite Owl, and you look at him, yes, he's supposed to be the first Blue Beetle, but if you look at his character design, it doesn't look like that. It actually looks closer to the Phantom, the old pulp hero. That I mean, they made a movie about him. He's the Phantom, the Ghost Who Walks, that kind of thing. Character-wise, he's like that. He doesn't have any like extra powers like the Phantom does, but he did have that. Dan Draberg
is the leader, and he loves to party down.
His look obviously isn't like the Blue Beetles. It's a different theme entirely. It's a nocturnal animal, nocturnal flying animal, or, you know, say a throwback to like the 1960s Batman. Yeah, if you really look at Dan Draberg's costume, it looks like something right out of the 66 Batman TV series. And that is not an accident.
This is great. Really great.
Because one of Daniel Draberg's defining qualities is that he is the ultimate fanboy. He is basically the bookish kid, grew up, he's a techno wizard. Obviously he creates the Owl Cave, he creates the Archimedes, or Archie as he puts it, based on the Sword and the Stone, or Merlin's Owl and the Sword and the Stone. I mean, the influences, I mean, the influences are so obvious, but they're so perfect at the same time. And they're so genius to have put them all together. But yes, he's a technological genius. Not a lot of friends. He was kind of bookish. And his father, who was a rich banker, basically leaves him a very, very large inheritance, to where you've got this very smart, very technologically gifted, but yet big fanboy of all the mystery men, or Minutemen characters that were running around. These people that decided to become superheroes. He becomes fan number one. And once Dr. Hollis Mason, the original Nite Owl, retires and writes a book, Draberg, who has already been trying to come up with a way of basically giving all this equipment to Hollis Mason to continue his crime fighting journey. But Hollis Mason's like, look, I am old. He's like, why don't you do it? And kind of trains him, and he's like, yeah, you can be a better night owl than I can.
Don't let him escape! Track him with the lights! Land your aircraft now! I repeat, land your aircraft!
That's where Dan Drayberg steps in. And it's also his biggest drawback. He is a fanboy after all. He has he's got the biggest case of imposter syndrome to begin with. You leave Nite Owl alone to investigate something, he's going to impress the crap out of you. If there is somebody else there, he is almost always going to automatically defer to that other person.
No reason to just throw the idea away. Me and Rorschach have made great headway into the gang problem by pooling our efforts.
But a group this size seems more like a publicity exercise. Too big and unwieldy.
Even though he's potentially smarter, he's could technically be better skilled. He's always going to defer to what he thinks is the real hero. He does even make a comment at some point with having the big owl car and Archie. He's got all this equipment, and he points out that there really aren't any supervillains in the Minuteman or the Watchmen universe, not super powered ones. And he's like, so I get all dressed up to go fight hookers and drug dealers. It's kind of like, wow. It does seem like overkill, but at the same time, he is looking at the fantasy. That's why he clings so close to Hollis Mason, the original Night Owl, and that's why the costume design of being the '60s Batman is so perfect, is because he is looking at that old way of doing, where it's clear cut, black and white, good and evil. Of course, that we realistically know that's not always the case. There's plenty of grays going on there.
We're supposed to make the world a better place.
But in his optimistic mind, that's how he kind of sees it. It's really, he's a great character study. I mean, honestly, they really infused him with quite a bit, because there are a couple of bits in there that Raze sees people get wrong all the time, and his answer to those is basically goes back to the imposter syndrome. It is what his biggest hang-up is.
To stop a war!
Yeah, I mean, he's the best equipped, short of Ozymandias, but and by all means, he should be a leader in this group, but he's obviously not. He's kind of like relegated to, okay, you got all the cool stuff, we'll call you when we need you. It's not till he actually starts suiting up and doing something that he kind of comes out of the depression that you can see that he's been going through since the Keene Act passed, and he is no longer allowed to operate as a costume crime fighter.
Good seeing you in uniform, Daniel.
You see it hit him harder than anybody. He ends up being overweight because his motivation is gone. And, they took something from him that he relied on. And even in that case, he kind of saw Night Owl as the hero, be it Hollis Mason or himself in costume, as the actual hero, and then Dan Drayberg being the fanboy that's just watching. And even though he is capable of becoming better than all of that, he just has this really bad imposter syndrome going on that keeps holding him back, and it's very prevalent throughout the series that he stops to question everything. As opposed to arguing, he will question. He will be like, wait, he becomes indecisive if somebody says something with authority. You know, if they say this is how it has to be, but he doesn't necessarily agree, he's going to say why and want to understand their point of view rather than give his probably better take as to how it should be handled. And that's really where the beauty of this character goes. I mean, I love the fact that all the Watchmen characters are seriously flawed people, because you would have to be seriously flawed in order to do what they were doing, to put in so much money to go and fight hookers and drug dealers. You know, maybe some organized crime if you're equipped properly, but like honestly, to go in fighting something like that is absolutely insane.
Assuming he's not dead.
He attracts this horror and madness. This is where he lives.
There's got to be something wrong with you if you're going to do something like that. Raze isn't going to say that he's never done anything like that, but you know, when the opportunity arises, Raze is just as flawed as any of them. But yeah, that's kind of the whole point and part of what makes the Watchmen such a juicy book.
The news overseas has everyone a little tense. So, before I throw you to our hungry reporters here tonight, let me kick things off with this. If the Reds act up...
And that's so why Raze has all the... Just... as much as he disliked the movie, because it was clear they didn't understand the source material, which you can't really blame them, because not a lot of people do understand the source material to the level of some people that have read it a gazillion times and studied it. It is something that just keeps going deeper. If you want deeper, you can reread that book and find deeper, and that's what Raze loves about it. And Nite Owl is just a perfect example of this. A little impressed that it doesn't say Nite Owl II on the side, because just about everywhere you look, it's going to say that. If you're wanting to look up Nite Owl himself, if you don't put 2 behind it, the Roman numeral 2, you're basically going to get the Hollis Mason stuff. And yeah, it's just too exciting, and Raze just keeps going on and on about it, and was just so excited to get this. So excited, in fact, Raze thinks it's time that we need to go ahead and open this guy up and have a look at it, because he can't wait anymore.
I guess I'm kind of bitter about losing the house.
Honestly, like, this is one of the few instances where Raze really would have preferred a more comic accurate version of Nite Owl, because they basically did with Nite Owl the same thing they did with Batman, where they put a lot of armor on him, extra armor on him, because this is from the Watchmen movie, which Raze wasn't a big fan of. But I mean, it kind of gets the point. They got the broad strokes done with this. He's got the crescent moon of a belt buckle on there. The hood is pretty close. I love the fact that it's misshapen all the way around. He is an expert on aviation, so I would imagine that has something to do with the fact that he was a bit of an acrobat when he was operating as Nite Owl originally, even though in the later stories he's let himself go to the point where not really sure if he could be like that or not. But yeah, so much of him makes sense. When at first glance it doesn't, when you see him being part of this group, but not like acting like all the other heroes. He's like, hey, when they get together for the Crime Busters meeting, he kind of speaks up at one point, but like even then Rorschach kind of takes over. And even then he's kind of like hey, it's a great idea for us to all team up, when everybody else is like, a group this big doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's not like we can, sneak up on a mugger when there's 5 of us. But yeah, it's the whole idea of the team spirit. He is a fan first and foremost. And I just think it was a great way of, basically when you took Ted Kord's story, all the elements you needed to make Nite Owl were already there. So there didn't have to be a lot of improvement, more or less take away Ted Kord's self-esteem, and you have Nite Owl. And I don't know if I want to get slack for that or not, but that's kind of the way it is. But yeah, very happy to have this one. Raze is still getting ready for C2E2. He's still getting ready. He's popping these videos, getting these together, getting these put up and ready, getting ready to film another video so you guys will have something to watch for when Raze does get back, but he's too exhausted to actually make a video because he spent the weekend partying with the C2E2 people. So you're probably going to get one more video and everything until you actually get the C2E2 video, which is most likely going to be a montage, of course, because that's usually the way Raze does it. But at any rate, whew, feels like I'm saying goodbye. I'm not. I've still got a few videos. You still got a few videos. To you at home, it's going to be like I never left, because I'm going to be, I'm still posting on his schedule, and it'll just doing things out of order, of course, because Raze is chaos, and Raze thrives in chaos, so it makes all the sense in the world. But at any rate, Raze is going to go ahead and get out of here now.
Well, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Nite Owl. And even if you want to talk further about Nite Owl or any of the Watchmen characters, hit him up on Instagram, because if there's one specific area of comics Raze loves talking about, it is the Watchmen. He may close up when it comes to other characters, even his favorite, Nightwing. He may slow down because it's very personal, in that respect, where comics are such a personal hobby that your takes might not fit everybody else's. But with the Watchmen, there are so many different layers to it that Raze is happy to explore all the different layers and discover more where he thought he'd already, discovered all. But at any rate, Raze is going to go ahead and get out of here now. I hope you have a great day, and never forget, life is full of odd moments. Woo, that didn't work. We're going to try that again. Life is full of odd moments, and you never know when you're going to be defined.
I